freak off parties, they're not freak off parties. There's a lot that happens. There's life-size wheels that people attach children to and spin it and decide who's having in what way. There are so many things. There's body cakes. There's party favors. And I'm talking like, you know how you put up a little birthday bag? Like when you go to a birthday party, and before you can leave, you can take one of those little birthday bags off the table. And then there's toys and like all this stuff for coming to the party. Yeah, instead of that, there's children. They call them party favors.
He'd be driving and suddenly he'd be like 20, 19, 18. He'd like pull over to the side of the road, and that was my cue that I was supposed to get out of the car and then run, basically. And I was supposed to evade him. And so it was like for a timed period of like 2 or 3 hours, I would be trying to run away from him while he tracked me. And if he caught me, I would get punished. Like my rib cage is covered in these scars because he would count coup. Back then, I got really proud of myself when I would get away from him, instead of realizing that I was being chased through the woods by somebody who killed children.
How many children did you watch him kill?
I can remember, well, him specifically, not the group of 5.
So you physically watched him kill 5?
Yeah.
How many did you witness?
Probably 7 over the course.
Did y'all see when they interviewed Dapper Dan about Diddy? They ran into Dapper Dan in Harlem, and they asked him what he thought about what was going on with Diddy and if he knew Diddy. And I love Dapper Dan for this. He said, I grew up with his parents. He said, and what's going on with him has been going on long before him. Now, his father was a government snitch and a bad actor in the criminal world altogether. But there's whispers in the streets of Harlem that Diddy's mother isn't alive. Not his biological mother, that woman is his aunt. There are whispers.
Wait a minute.
Diddy's story is so convoluted, but nobody really likes talking about who he was before he became Puffy. I would love if I could be granted an interview with him, to interview Diddy now in his most raw state about his life up until the age of 15.
I just want to know how much more of my childhood is going to be ruined.
I hope they know my nigga got a fucking kidnap kids. Fuck them in they ass, throw them over the bridge. That's how it is.
DJ Envy dresses his daughter up like Little Kim.
As the devil's snack, with her body on display, pretending you dressed your daughter up as the devil's snack, with her body on display, pretending to be Little Kim and singing the lyrics.
Shall I proceed?
Yes. And they did a whole video shoot.
You know, we're doing a video. She about to do the whole video.
And nobody has taken their child out of their home yet.
I'ma cheat you. The only one thing I wanna do is freak you.
For a bunch of weirdos to go online and watch your 8-year-old body daughter with no dressed up in bikinis and fur coats and wigs. And you said, my daughter loves Little Kim so much. Look at this. Number one, your wife. Y'all need to go to jail. That child needs to be removed from your home. You're turning your daughter into a Lunchable for the devil.
This cult may actually be stealing souls.
This is in Arizona?
This is in Arizona. And this really rich guy, he's a, what is it? He's a Rothschild. A Rothschild. He bought this town of Felicity and named it after his wife, Felicity.
Wait, is this real?
Who we think we ran into.
Can we make sure that this is real?
We visited it.
Go for tours of this place.
Oh, we did a tour. We did a tour fight.
Why?
They tried to get us in the center of the pyramid, in the center of the thing, put our foot in the middle, save this thing and make a wish and then sign a contract. And I was like, and we were like, I'm not doing that. And she was like, well, the only part of the tour you have to do. And they go to do the tour. And that's when we said, we don't want to do the tour anymore. We're going to leave. And she was pissed. And then they said, she goes, this right here is the center of the world.
This is in Arizona.
You are a trans man.
That is correct. I was born female. That is correct.
Tell us a little bit about your background and how you went from female to male.
I used to struggle with my gender identity at a very young age. Started transition at the age of 33.
33?
33.
How old are you now?
41.
I would have thought that with all that beard hair you got going on and mustache, it's been your whole life since you was 16.
Well, yes, you know, I've been medically transitioning for, those amount of years. However, I have, been in transition all my life, basically. But I started medically transitioning, in 2015.
Hello everyone, MTK here. So I came across this video of this young lady wearing a condom dress at the Miss Universe 2024. The dress got a lot of attention.
Guys, nothing is the same anymore. Everything is different. Family is no longer the same. Family has become colder, meaner, more distant. Holidays and traditions have changed. Black Friday isn't the same anymore. Back in the day, people used to run and fight trying to get the items they were getting. Now you can barely find yourself a deal. Thanksgiving doesn't feel the same. Christmas doesn't feel the same. Church feels semi-different. It used to be warm and you were connected with a lot of people, and now it's about mega churches and coffee and big smoke screens during worship. Cartoons have changed, y'all. You used to have shows like Tom and Jerry, Looney Tunes, Bugs Bunny. I grew up with shows like Ed, Edd n Eddy, Kids Next Door, Jimmy Neutron. And now you have a bunch of just super colorful, hyper animated, no plot, weird cartoons that really make no sense whatsoever. Video games have changed. You don't feel the passion in these new games anymore like you used to. You had legendary games like Halo where you literally felt the blood, sweat, tears, and time that they took to make that game. Now it's about DLC, half making it, and trying to get as much money as possible. There's no passion anymore. Food has changed, the quality tastes funny, music's changed, the lyrics suck. I want to go back.
We are watching the downfall of America, and when I first started saying stuff like this months ago, I literally got bullied off of this app for a few months because there's so many people just like calling me crazy and saying I'm like violent, and there are a lot of people specifically who were saying like it's delusional to think that because it's not going to happen overnight. But no one said it was going to happen overnight. We literally have been watching it beginning to happen over the past year. It's taken an entire year to build up to this point, and it's still building up to a breaking point. And the reality is, when it comes to things like revolutions and the downfall of entire empires, there is usually not like a single event that happens that can be pinpointed as the beginning of that revolution. It is usually a series of events over a period of time, which is what is happening. It is going to...
If you look at the country of Turkey, at the far right-hand side, you will see a mountain called Mount Ararat. It is 12 miles from the Russian border. Very politically unstable region. On a Turkish map, it's called Noah Ungamshi, which means Noah's big boat. That's the name of the region. They've got signs, you drive right up to it. Noah's big boat, this way, 5 kilometers.
It's funny, I was there, and I said to the Ark researcher, I said, are you absolutely sure this is Noah's Ark? He said, well, let me answer it like this. It is 300 cubits long. And he said, I can't think of another massive ship that would be in the mountains of Ararat.
This is the most significant historic archaeological discovery in history. The implications cannot be overstated. And you say emphatically, this is true.
I believe it 100%. Now, people who've been looking for it on Mount Ararat don't want to acknowledge it because they've been looking in the wrong place. The snow is almost gone from the top of the mountain in the hottest months of the year. And now Mount Ararat's become a popular place for mountain climbers. It is not on Mount Ararat. It is in the lower mountains of Ararat, 18 miles across the valley, on a mountain called Mount Judy. And guess what? If you just go up from where the Ark is laying you will come to the ruins of the Silk Road. And the ancient writers clearly wrote that when people would travel the Silk Road, they would detour and go down the mountain to the ruins of the Ark. That's exactly where it is.
This is the rock that God made water pour out of in the book of Exodus. It's known as the Rock of Horeb and is located near Mount Sinai, close to Jebel al-Lawz in Saudi Arabia. In the book of Exodus, God instructed Moses to strike the rock at Horeb, and miraculously, water poured out to sustain the people. The erosion patterns around its base are still visible, suggesting that a tremendous volume of water once flowed from it. Additionally, the surrounding stones are visibly smoothed and flattened, consistent with the powerful rush of water needed to sustain a large group of people. The rock was discovered by archaeologists in the 1980s in a region where other significant biblical landmarks were found, such as Mount Sinai, the Red Sea crossing, and where the Battle of Rephidim was thought to have taken place.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the most amazing archaeological discoveries in history related to the Bible. And this is the Merneptah Stela. There was a pharaoh in Egypt by the name of Merneptah. He came right after Ramses II. And this stela, this victory statement, comes from 1208 BC. So this thing is over 3,200 years old. And if you look down here, you can see how it's kind of worn more black because people were actually touching the inscription that mentioned that Israel as a nation had been laid waste by Pharaoh Merneptah in 1208 BC. Well, how could that be if the Exodus took place in the 1200s like many people say? The much more consistent date for the Exodus, according to the Bible and archaeology, is the Exodus took place in the 1400s BC, particularly according to the Bible, 1446 BC. That would have given the Israelites enough time to get into the land and become a nation, so later Merneptah could brag that he had beaten them. This is amazing. It's 3,200 years old, and it's got Israel on it.